There's always something to do in the boroughs.
We wanted the show to be about heroes. And it just sort of spirals out there from a very genuine place of, I don't think I've seen this, but I want to see this.
You see it, right?
Yes, I see it.
All right, let's roll it.
We just know as writers ourselves and having watched so many movies that world building is one of the hardest things that you can do.
Welcome to the Boroughs, where you'll have the time of your life.
Ironic slogan for a place people come to die.
They created this massive fantasy world that you completely believe.
Everything you're seeing was really built from scratch and pieced together.
Here we go. Action!
It feels like coming home, even though you're coming to this incredibly odd, beautiful place.
Another beautiful day in the boroughs.
The Boroughs is this high-end retirement community that's got everything.
Oh, and aren't you just the cutest thing? What's your name?
Sam. And then my character turns up, and he's very reluctant to be there. Partly to do because he's on his own, he's still grieving his wife. He arrives in the most unsalubrious circumstances. I was an engineer, but now I'm a prisoner.
We'd love to get into the house.
All right, here we are on Yucca Lane.
Wow, yeah, this is...
In our beautiful Boroughs community.
This is a privilege to ride along with you and get the
All right, well, we'll
inside
try.
scoop. Yeah.
Hopefully. When I first met with everybody, it wasn't clear how we were going to do it. If we were going to film an existing retirement community, but I knew in my heart that this was a world that had to be created. The way to do the Boroughs was to create a very specific world that was ours. Here we are in the cul-de-sac of all of our heroes, and we call this a sagebrush circle, which is our dream of New Mexico is all the kind of great expanse of sagebrush that we hope to extend, as you'll see, behind all those walls.
Well, at least it's pretty.
It's dry.
It's a desert.
Exactly.
The design and feel of this is all post-war modern tract housing. All the Boroughs has this lovely, it's kind of mysterious, everything looking the same, but then we get to build the life stories inside.
The Boroughs is a good place. We take care of each other, you know, like a family.
I remember thinking that this is a lot like those places where everybody wants to look like each other a little bit, you know? Everybody wants to kind of be part of that team of people that like it like this.
Come on, you fucker. Come on.
Yeah, baby!
It's the sort of place my parents would have loved. You know, little cul-de-sac with all the houses the same, you know, everyone coming out, good morning, you know, all of that whole world that is almost a fantasy.
We thought to shoot in New Mexico. We wanted those big open skies. I think part of that came from visiting real-life retirement communities like Sun City, which were sort of, you would go to the edge and nothing but desert.
We really thought of the desert as another metaphor for death. And that if you stray beyond the boundaries, there's nothing out there for you.
My wife's dead. And the world just keeps on turning and people just keep on living their lives.
This, you know, looks like a place you wouldn't set a scene. But I have quite a scene with Sam here. And I gotta tell you, I was mostly pleased that this was here. Like, I'm coming over to talk to him, and this was like, just felt like Jack could be Jack. We weren't sitting on the steps. We were just kind of like leaning, and he was leaning there. This is where we get to talk about all the crap in the world that you gotta endure.
Everybody's trying to figure out what to do with the time you got left.
I now live on a cul-de-sac in LA. I got the moniker, he's the mayor of the cul-de-sac. And then when I read Jack, I thought, this is kind of like a little bit of who I got to be.
I'm kind of the welcome wagon around these parts. And
There's a lot about him that he'd be the last person that Sam, makes friends with. And yet he has a kind of easy way that, wins over Sam. And they end up having a really good relationship at a time where he thought he had nothing to live for.
Jack, thanks for everything. Oh, man. Sam the man.
Actors turn up. We're the last ones to turn up and the first ones to leave. People have been working for months before we arrive, and they'll be working for months after we leave. So you fit yourself in, and you just know that all these people are working towards one thing, which is to make your job much easier. And I think that deserves an extraordinary amount of respect.
Is Christina here?
How are you?
Oh, God, I want to go to sleep.
When we build a world, we think about it from the ground up. Then all these other amazing artists come in and just help fill it out, and they help you bring it to life.
Christina is a brilliant costume designer, and as a designer, she is a brilliant storyteller.
My thing is always, all people inhabit clothes differently. Like, we can have an idea, you can go into a fitting, but it's the way you put them on, the way you wear them, who Judy is to you, and where we find that together. That's the coolest part. It was a painting, it's a local artist named Anthony Hurd, and I found this print at a store in Albuquerque. Every color of a New Mexico sunset, every color we wanted to use, our entire palette comes from this.
We are definitely in the desert, and I think doing this just kept you on point. That's what makes how you have outfitted the Burrows so perfect. Every piece is thoroughly thought through. Everything is telling a story. Everything that they have on, it becomes an extension of their person, an expression of who they are.
A lot of my research came from my natural surroundings. So I like to just get out and about and just see how the locals look. You see a lot of tattoos, you see a lot of minimal makeup, you see a lot of facial hair, and then drawing inspiration from our surroundings.
My big thing is to take that walk through the costume department. That's the icing on the cake for me. Once I see what's on the boards, I see the color palettes, I see the textures, I know exactly where I have to go.
They're so much fun, and we had started texting weeks before they got to New Mexico. And like, hey, this is what we're doing. Here are the boards. Here's the evolution. And just making sure we're all creating a cohesive idea.
One of my proudest moments is seeing the entire ensemble together. That dinner scene early on, seeing them all at the table, and just taking that deep breath like, we've arrived.
How are you settling in?
Oh, fine. Couple of bumps.
One of the first things we were talking about is like, how fun would it be to cast this show? And we started spitballing names. It was so exciting. And then to see them all interact together, I mean, it was definitely sort of a pinch me moment.
Well, the nice thing is, apart from the fact that they're all wonderful actors, there's lots of interconnecting relationships. Like Clark Peters and I, we've known each other since the 80s. I've done a movie with Alfred. I've worked a couple of times with Bill Pullman. Dennis O'Hare, I know socially. We met like 20-odd years ago on Broadway. Gina, I'd met a couple of times before, like socially. She knows my wife. So the ice was broken. And so that gave the whole thing, gave the whole endeavor a real energy.
Don't die.
Don't tell me what to do.
I love that Renee has a very colorful past. She was a manager for various performers and bands, traveled the world. So then it's very interesting that she ends up in this retirement community, which was not her plan.
Do you have any enemies?
No, I killed them all.
I respect that. I don't think that Paz sees the age gap. He's kind of just vibing with this woman and maybe find something a little more genuine in her that he hasn't found in other people.
You are so cute when you're patronizing.
I know, right?
They have amazing chemistry. They are so good together.
Your chariot, my lady.
If you're not rooting for that love story, if you don't want them to be together, then a lot of the show would fall apart. And so that really hinged on the two of them being able to be a duo.
And they are so fun with each other. And I think you see that in the performance.
We had a great time together. We just, enjoyed the heck out of each other.
So welcome to the Burroughs Art Department.
Oh my gosh. So you take what is basically a dull office building and then put shit on the walls.
That's exactly what we do. It was fun to just decorate and tell our story on the wall so that any of our department heads can come and see, what we're building.
Boy, it's going to a lunar landscape.
Yes.
It's got this kind of like insect world looking like.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The idea that they are isolated and they are kind of happy to be at the Burroughs, but also they are trapped at the Burroughs. So this was the cul-de-sac. It was really important to me to have the mountains looming. That was a real character in the story for me, so visual effects will pull it closer.
On the Burroughs, VFX is the department that stitches together all of these separate, cool sets and spaces and makes it feel like a real place. The intention is to extend what we see.
When you turn the camera this way, well, that's all stuff that's not supposed to be in the Burroughs. What are you gonna do? You bring in VFX and they get all these blue screens and they get these shipping containers that are 300 feet tall.
Hundreds of shipping containers we had out in the desert surrounding this giant set so that anywhere you looked when we were done, you'd see the Burroughs.
A set that I loved working in was the Traditions set. Traditions essentially was an abandoned mall
Good morning, Mr. Shaw.
that Ruth and her team converted and made our town center of the Burroughs.
I scouted that shopping mall, and it was derelict 10 years ago, so you can imagine what it was.
An enormous amount of construction had to go on and redesign. In the end, it was really beautiful and felt alive and felt like a real place.
These are all the kind of references that inspired Town Square. So it was kind of based on Route 66, which all that stuff is 20s and 30s, but somehow the 50s and the 20s relate to each other.
How you doing, Art?
Me? I'm on my quest. What drew me to the role was that Art was on a quest, to try to understand something supernatural, something natural, something beyond our consciousness, and he's a man that's looking for that. I saw something today I cannot explain.
I can't do it tonight.
Judy, I'm trying to tell you something.
Judy and Art know each other very well. They've been through a lot of different experiences in their lives. They have grown together. Sometimes you grow faster than the other person, you outpace them.
I was thinking maybe I'd go out to the desert for a couple of days, do some camping. There's obviously love, but maybe the communication on I need my space and you need your space, I need to grow, you need to grow, is a conversation that hasn't been had. So we find ourselves pre that conversation. I've been searching for proof that there's more to life than just knocking about and hanging out.
Remember, we got Brooksy, your pet crow?
I know, man. Oh my.
Yeah, so that was what he was buried with.
Yes, that's his food. So that he would get to the next world.
The real live Brooksy was kind of big, and I think I got this on eBay from like the Czech Republic. You were scheduled to eat peaches in January, which peaches go out of season in July. So I ended up freezing about 100 peaches. So I had this strategic peach reserve for when you actually ate it. How did you?
It was all right.
You found a
yes,
6-month-old peach was okay?
Was this?
Well, yeah. They were flash frozen and thawed gently. But these are the latex ones that we pulled off the tree, so it has a little drywall screw. It was just up there with a magnet.
That's right.
And then you just pop that off.
To have things to root you to when you get back to them. It's when you get back to them the second and third time that you begin to be drawn into the character. When you're working with people who are conscious about the storytelling, it makes all of our jobs easier.
What is this place?
The manor. It's where they stick the potatoes.
And this looks like
This
the
is-
overhead shot that we looked at the beginning of the room.
Right, so you're right. That's exactly what it is, except it's the manor. So we have the circle of the community, the boroughs, and the concentric circles. Then we have the circle of the cul-de-sac. And then this is the manor.
Kind of trippy, right?
That it is.
Circles have been literally part of the design elements from the beginning, as they've been sort of metaphorically part of the story elements from the beginning. And so Ruth is able to marry the suggestion with the literal in her sets. And so the circles of the manor are both soothing literally, but also metaphorically, they can represent how, in this show, for some of the people, time is not linear.
The manor set was one of the more technically complicated sets to do because we were presenting a fake environment, something where you would have all times of day represented, but it's all represented in, lighting changes within the room. So a lot of thought had to go into how the light was actually built into the set.
Ruth started working with the grips from the beginning. When should we build? Which part should we build so that your rigging work is more easily, more efficiently done? And so when they came in, they were able to do so much of the lighting ahead of schedule.
We were able to change the colors and put moving patterns in the ceiling to simulate cloud formations and this idea that the set is sort of alive with light.
Whenever we get together, it's like we were kids again. Time's funny that way.
Time and the loss of time is a big thing with all these characters.
The central question of the show is, what will you do with the time you have left? It's a question that any age audience can ask.
Sometimes that question is inspiring. Sometimes that's a weight.
There's all of these different types of characters that are being confronted with grief, with the sort of the heaviness of this unknown, whether it be death or loss or change.
Dennis's character feels it very keenly because he's dealing with a terminal illness.
You two don't look so good. Well, I've got cancer. What's your excuse?
Wally is, he's a beloved character. He's funny. He seems to be sort of a joke until he's not. And his conflict is really, really complicated. He comes to sort of work for Blaine and the Burrows in a way that upsets his friends.
This time, I save everybody. Or you could become a monster too.
And what are you?
The monster stuff is unlike anything I've ever done before, and it's so much fun. That's a really fun part of this, where you get to fully transform many times within a show. Everything has been practical so far, which is very, very cool. And there's contacts and teeth and this beautiful piece they put on that they paint and these claws. It's just so cool. When we can do practical, I think we always should. There's nothing better.
When you do the practical makeup, it does a lot of the heavy lifting for you. You let that drive the scene. I love that we're still doing that. You're still sitting in a makeup chair for hours.
All that time, do what it does best. Wipe things clean.
It just makes your performance so much easier and so much more fun.
Did you see episode 1
No, I
before?
I still haven't seen episode 1.
I have a few things to show you. So I'm going to show you a clip from episode 1.
Okay.
Nothing wrong with you? No, I feel better.
Oh, wow. Oh, for crying out loud. Come on now.
Come on.
Oh, what? Oh, run, girl. There you go. Get out. Good. Yeah, Oh. Oh,
come on now. You got... She was such a nice lady.
She was such a nice lady. So that's the beginning of episode 1.
We love monsters. Jeff and Will love monsters just as much, if not possibly more than Ross and I do. Jeff and Will really wanted to create monsters that were unlike any you had ever seen before.
We thought through this monster even before we started to design it.
How's it get in?
How does it feed? How does it get around?
What does it look like?
It has too many legs.
Like a spider?
Not really.
The way our monster moves is not, hopefully, anything you've seen before. It is unsettling.
Jeff's motivation was that they were meant to be ancient. They should feel older than the residents of the borough.
It's here. It's on top of the closet.
The monster was the driving force, ultimately, about the design of the houses, because the monster crawls on the ceilings. So, you know, it forced us into kind of mid-century modern in that way because of the high peaks.
We also tried to think about the monster from a story point of view. Why this monster in this place? Now! And then you partner with people who are really into monsters.
It didn't work.
Jesus!
Shout out to our creature designer, Jerry, who helped us bring this monster to life. He did a lot of research into aging skin, how thin it is, how it sags, the spots in it, the cracking of its knuckles, and all of that went into the monster.
One of the things that's extra special about the Burrows is that almost all of our visual effects are a handover from something real and physical and visceral.
Oh, shit.
Jared had to design a creature that was the same creature when it was scary and when it was vulnerable, when it was the terrifying other and when you could really empathize with it or the other monsters who love it. And have one design carry through like that, I just think shows his talent and his humanity.
It was suffering.
When you don't know they have a name, it's easier for them to be scary. Once you know that they are kids, and once you know that every kid's got a mom, well, at some point, we have to meet that mother. And shout out to Nancy, who plays Mother.
Nancy wanted to champion the monster. She said, I want to tell her story. And I want Mother to have emotions and feelings and not just be the boogeyman in the shadows.
Mother is who we found way back in 1949 and who we have been exploiting for her magical resource for all this time. The longer we exploit her in that way, the more human-like she becomes.
Time to go.
The monsters have to be scary, but at some level, you have to find yourself rooting for them. They have to have a story.
We have to help her.
Okay, great. Somebody finally gets it.
They're, in a way, just as manipulated as the humans are. That they're being used by a bigger enemy, as it were.
I can only imagine what you must think of us.
Nothing good.
Will and Jeff had such a specific idea of what they wanted Mother to look like, and it was so rewarding to create her completely practically with just makeup and on-set effects.
Onyx Forge designed the prosthetics for Mother, and from there, was there for 10, 12 hours her first day, getting everything done, all of her measurements, her scanning, her eyes measured, teeth.
Special effects prosthetics and our team have done an amazing job of making these physical, practical pieces that are applied to humans. And then our visual effects responsibility is to explode them.
Sam spends the whole season grappling with his wife's death and trying to figure out whether or not he can go on.
You took my wife from me.
And Blaine is the ultimate embodiment of that path. He couldn't accept the possibility that his wife might die. So In order for Sam to find the way of moving on, he has to see the choice that Blaine has made and see the futility of it.
We'll be together again.
We are together always.
I believe that a well-told story, even about a bunch of people in a retirement village, is going to tell all kinds of people something.
Can someone just tell me what the hell is going on?
Burroughs is fucked up.
I'm proud of the story we're telling. You got a bunch of late 60-year-olds running around acting like fools, and we're sharing their adventures, and I think that's a really cool story to tell.
Sorry, boys, you'll have to catch next one.
The reason that they built a retirement community to do what they're doing is because they thought nobody would care. What do older people do? They die.
Nobody cares about old folks. Not even old folks.
Overlooked, underappreciated, not taken seriously.
We should start a revolution. To the Great Rebellion.
And so what we wanted to see was those characters fighting back. They are rising up against these people who say that they don't have any value.
So The Burrows is a coming-of-age story. It's just a different age.
Welcome to The Burrows.
We have the time of your life.